So what attracted you guys to this project?
Listen, you get an audition and you see the words David E. Kelly and Barry Levinson on the top page, and you know that is opening up a portal to something that's going to be pretty good. So I'm really glad that it worked out the way it worked out, and I was able to go from doing a few scenes in the audition to doing whole scripts with all these people involved, especially these guys that I got to play with all the time throughout the summer, Mike and Juliana and Jeff.
Yeah, and when I found out that Jeff was the guy from Unorthodox who with the Yankee cap that was terrifying and terrorizing that poor girl in that show. And I was like, because he was one of the best villains I've ever seen ever in anything ever. And he's just the poker face on that guy just betrays nothing. I mean, he's just like, it's so beautiful what he does. And his stillness is fantastic. So when I found out he was going to be our Avraham, I just was so pumped. And just to get to work with him, and he's just soared in this role.
Yeah. Speaking of that character and your character's interaction with him, what would you say each of your characters' relationship is to him? Because he's kind of like a sore thumb within this department.
I think he's cool. I like him. I think his weird voodoo that he does and how he gets people to talk, I think it's cool. I just think it's fun to watch, and I don't think I would ever try to imitate it, but I think Earl has a tremendous respect for Avi.
Yeah. And I think that I as the person who the buck stops here, I have to do that delicate dance of knowing how much line to give him and when to reel him in. It is, it's doubtless that his approach to the work often yields results. And I'd be silly if I didn't want to employ that in what we do. But Avraham can sometimes push the edges, and get things out of shape in a way that I think is not always comfortable for Captain Davies here.
Yes, both of you guys have done dramatic roles, but also a lot of comedic work too. What kind of draws you into dramatic roles, and how is that approach different than comedy?
Oh my God, good question.
I think Karen said it well the other, earlier. You never play comedy, unless you're like a clown or something, or I don't know, or stand up or something. But as an actor, you play the situation. And if it's written right, it'll be funny. You know what I mean? I suppose that there's timing and stuff like that, but I don't know. I never really think about it like that. But I did find this thing, like, and I don't know, but just like the first day Karen and I think we're on set together, we were in this like interrogation room. And within like 10 minutes when the cameras were on us, we were already starting to like joke. We were already starting to like find little bits of like little spaces or pauses, little bits of humor where I would say something and she'd tell me to shut up and I'd be like, sorry, boss. Like just little things that we could find that, whether or not it was going to end up on the TV or not, I feel like it was us kind of starting to talk, like in a way. Yes. It was like us starting to kind of feel each other out and be like, oh, I see who we are. Do you know what I mean, Karen?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And I also think that, to the question of what brings us in, for me, it's really not that deep. If I read a script and I'm laughing, I know it's funny. Then the onus is on me to actually play the scene because the stuff is already on the page, right? And the same thing with drama. If it moves me, the stuff is already on the page, and I just have to put myself into the scene. But when you get the opportunity to work with craftspeople like practitioners of the art, like, Mike and Juliana and Jeff, then there's an alchemy that can happen that it's not something that you can predict. It's not something that you can write a recipe for. It's I don't know. Is it magic? It feels like it might be magic where all of our various talents come together to create this potion that actually works. It's weird and it's wonderful when it happens.
Yes. A lot of times with cop dramas, it's not fully a serialized show. There's one issue, they solve the case, and it moves on. But this show, it is mostly about this missing boy and kind of the other elements in the building in this community. How was it like to kind of play this thorough line throughout the season?
It's great. It's great. It's great to get to it's great to like not tie it up in a bow. It's great that things have loose ends. It's great that things aren't perfect and people are flawed and complicated and deep. And that's how we all are. It's not Dragnet. Not that there's anything wrong with Dragnet. I just mean that it's not, there's nuance to it, which I think that I think people will find refreshing.
Yeah, and it asks you to invest. It really does. It asks you to take the time to get to know these people. And I'm not just talking about the four characters. I'm talking about the characters that you referred to, Ariana, the people in this building, the people in this community. What are their stories? And I found that fascinating about this show is that you find out about they're not even so much peripheral characters, but they definitely are supporting characters to the central story. You go inside their homes, their rooms, their conversations, and eventually their minds. It's slower paced. And you as an audience member become immersed in the story in a way that I think something that has to tie up at the end of 46 minutes does not invite you to do. It's a different experience.
It definitely is. Well, thank you so much for both of you for taking the time to talk to me. Congrats on this project and looking forward to speaking with you in the future about others.